programs, welcome back to ArcNeo Reviews. Welcome back to Remold, Repaint, whatever week. Today, we're actually continuing with Shattered Glass. We're going to go ahead and look at Shattered Glass Megatron. And at first, a couple people are going to be scratching their heads, and then they're going to look a little closer and realize, yeah, they took a tank mold and they forced it into being a jet. Okay, so here's where we unpack this thing. First of all, yes, I do technically have this transformed wrong. The tank barrel section from the tank, you are supposed to actually leave off and just store on the side of this mode. Don't do that. You risk of losing whatever, but B, it's literally just his legs being stuck out forward here. You want that tank barrel there to actually kind of cover up the huge, gap going on right there. I do not understand the reasoning or thought process behind this, if there was one to begin with. This, frankly, just comes off as a very lazy, we don't want to think about this too hard. Like, I'm aware Shattered Glass Megatron is a spaceship, not a tank, which is kind of a departure. I think one of the only other, official-ish Shattered Glass Megatrons used the Energon mold, which actually looked really awesome in my opinion. But, yeah, right now I'm just going to come out and say, full stop, you do not buy this figure for its alt mode. This is dumb. If we do it quote-unquote correctly, there we go, holds on very tightly at least. It looks worse because now it's just got a huge hollow spot in the front there, as well as I think there's a little bit of mold degradation going on in this section of things, because these arms will not lay flat. These are very loose, and the way that they're attached, I can't actually really get in there to tighten them up at all. Props to the matte black paint used here, at least. It's shocking how much of a effect that one section of matte color adds. It pops. It's weird to say. You wouldn't think matte would pop, but it does. This mode looks really, really bad. If you want, yes, we can remove this. This section is unfortunately the clear blue plastic painted thing again. So this does have the same issues as Siege Apeface, which I know I haven't reviewed yet. I own it, and I've had the problem. I even have a fix for the problem, technically. But be aware, if this is a little tight when you're plugging it in, stop trying to plug it in. Get some sandpaper and sand these down a little bit. You want this to fit loose, not tight. These break very, very easily. I have found that out the hard way, and I am gentle with my figures. Anyway, pop off the wings. The wings are also the same clear blue plastic, but I'm not actually as worried about them because these aren't hollow pegs. These pegs are actually molded solid, or at least mostly solid. I guess that one it's got a hole in the side, but I'm not as worried about these just shattering the way I am this, because this is the only time that I've actually had problems with clear plastic. In the entire time I've dealt with Transformers, this type of clear plastic in this type of setting, this is the only place I've ever had, clear plastic syndrome, as TJ Omega calls it. So your mileage may vary, but this is the only place where you're going to hear me complaining about it. I like the red Decepticon insignia on there. This does look like a really neat cockpit. I just wish they would have put it on a better figure. Anyway, as I'm showing, yes, you can just very, very quickly throw this thing into the standard tank mode if you want. which is a little bit of a pain in the butt to do from this direction, but, you know, you get the point. You can see. I do not have the patience today to deal with just how tight some of these joints are. This thing is going to fight me for all it is worth if I try to put it into that mode. It's fighting me for even mentioning that mode at this point. But I will say, I will give credit. They seem to have tightened up some of the tolerances. Things here are very tight, except for on mine, this foot piece won't actually tab in the way it's supposed to, so this one does that. Yeah, I would have expected a little bit better either way. Let's go ahead, finish getting this guy. Let's just go ahead and get him in his robot mode. Very unceremoniously, I know. This is the redeeming part of this figure. I'm going to already come out and say that now. This figure is bad in its alt mode. This figure likes to make horrible sounding noises while transforming it because you have to move tabs past things. Oh, yeah, no, duh. I'm like, why are his arms wrong? Because I forgot to turn that around. That one's on me. And really quickly, there you go. You've got your Shattered Glass Megatron in his robot mode. This looks so good. And as always, with remolds, here he is next to his more or less original version. Yes, I am well aware this is the Netflix version of the Megatron mold, not the actual Siege original version. I gave my Siege one to a friend who shockingly did not have a Megatron at all. He was just getting into figure collecting. I'm like, okay, if you're collecting figures at all, you need Megatron. So I gave him a Megatron. This is the one I've got. But you can see, yeah, it is still basically just the exact same mold, just with a very different set of paint apps. I do think they've either remolded the head a tiny bit, or it might even just be the plastic they're using, because I'm sure we've all seen, you know, the lip-smacking memes of Siege/Earthrise Megatron. Yeah, he actually, he doesn't really have that in this version. Which, it makes him look better, I'm not gonna lie. Again, you've got a little pop of matte plastic here. You've still got it on the shoulders. You got it on the head. All works really well. His eyes are painted blue. And in normal lighting situations, they do pop very, very well, actually. And of course, he's got all his extra stuff. I'm sure you already saw the pegs here on these wings. Go ahead and I guess more or less officially, you're supposed to pop these on the back of his, or on his back like that. Just leave them out. I prefer to kind of angle them up like that. They actually come to a natural stopping point that way, which helps keep them even. I just like the way that looks. So, my 2 cents on how to handle that. The sword is exactly the same as all the other versions of this figure. Go ahead and get it popped together. Give him his sword. And then use the middle peg here, and you can put this on the back of his arm like a bit of a kind of a shield thing. It definitely looks silly when you put the sword and the shield on the same arm. So go ahead and do that. I mean, overall, this is a very good figure. I'm not going to deny that. But unlike most Transformers, this is one where, in my opinion, it effectively just is the figure. Like, there's no point in getting this guy for, you know, I don't really see much fun to be had in the weird, janky alt mode that makes very little sense. By the way, worth mentioning, he still has the old version of this head flap. So they didn't even update this to the Earthrise one that has a stopper. It just keeps going. There is a soft stop here, which I don't know if that's them fixing the mold, you know, just tightening the tolerance a little bit so it actually works, or it's something that they added. But you will generally find this one has a easier to deal with head. But yeah, this figure, if you get this thing, you're getting it for this. You're getting it to be a figure. You're very, very not likely to bother really transforming it and keeping it in alt mode. The alt mode's not even that good for storage, because it doesn't even compact him, because his legs are still sticking out all the way, and you stick the wings on him and he gets bigger than this. The alt mode on this guy, to be perfectly blunt, is a failure. It's an outright failure. I appreciate that they tried to take a tank and make it a spaceship. That was a silly thing to try. It didn't work. Yes, this does mean technically, if you want to call it, this is a triple changer figure because of parts forming, and it's bad parts forming, and this robot mode looks super, super lush. Okay, let's not deny that. This looks great. He looks amazing when you put him next to his loyal friend, Starscream. Shattered glass is weird like that. It's the only time you'll use that phrase. But as you can see, they share a color scheme. They look awesome. I very much recommend if you get one, get the other, because they are an amazing duo. But while this guy, you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of his alt mode, just leave him in robot mode. Anyway, as always, my 2 cents. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.